you're not a lazy guy. You're working all the time, just like myself. It's just like you seemed a lot of more relaxed, like in your mindset, as opposed to, for example, myself.
Whenever we compare ourselves to others, I think it's always easy to say, oh, that guy has it easy, like he's just, he's way more successful, or he knows what's going on. I definitely had plenty of trial and error in that business. I mean, there was so much. We had some great successes with products, but, we had some great failures too. In any business, it's really about identifying like the key leverage points. I think in digital products and selling books online, obviously like the offer is key.
A licensing deal, especially the deal we did the same deal for the German market, you did for the French market back then. It's about you take a product that is already existing, and instead of creating your own product, you would just take an existing product and bring it to a new market and basically organize the translation and then organize traffic, etc., and affiliates. This is what we did. As a serial entrepreneur, I'm always trying to evolve. Having great conversations with other high performers is one of the best ways to grow, not only in business, but also in spirit, health, and relationships. This is Svencast. Listen, grow, repeat. 3, 2, 1, I guess. We're live with Francis Wolff today. Welcome, Francis.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thank you. So you have been an online entrepreneur since 2007. You have lived in the whole world, in all kinds of countries. Therefore, you know a lot of different cultures, which is very rare. You have built multiple multi-million-dollar companies all around the world. And interestingly enough, also in the French and the Japanese market, even though you don't speak French or Japanese, if I'm right?
Yeah, I don't speak either language.
Yeah. And in May, and the special thing is, I founded Digistore24 Europe 10 years ago. And in 2018, which is 2 years from this point in time, in May, we founded Digistore24 US. And right now, 2 years later, it has become almost as big as the European company, which is fucking amazing. And it'll be very interesting for everyone to pick your brains a little bit about how you think about success and how you do things. First of all, how did you start becoming an entrepreneur? How did your whole journey start with that?
I think when I was probably in high school, I definitely approached academics differently. I looked at school kind of as like, what did I have to do to like get my degree versus like what grades did I want to get? Grades weren't really that interesting. It was more just like, how do I, game the system so that, I can just like kind of do fun activities and hobbies I'm interested in, and also, pass my classes. So, for me, when I was growing up, I had, a few passions. I like sports. I like skiing a lot. I like film and video and editing. And, the school I went to when I was younger, they had different independent study projects that you could create. So I would create like these independent studies as a class and, learn about something that I was really interested in. And those were the classes that I did the best in because I kind of, created my own curriculum and just learned about it and was really passionate about it.
Okay. And how did the entrepreneurship start in that case?
Well, I think, originally I kind of just was passionate about film and video for a while. And I was like, oh, I want to, go to Hollywood and, work my way up and do this and that, in the kind of Hollywood system. And as I did different courses and I created some little student film projects and things like that. And, I even went to college, like at a film program and Montana State University. Like my two things for college was like I wanted a good film program and I wanted a place that I could go skiing. So
Okay.
those were my two requirements then. Um, and they had a good film program for like a state school. It wasn't like an LA, you know, USC, UCLA type deal, but it had like my two requirements. And so I did some classes there, and I just kind of learned that the Hollywood system, it's just like any kind of business system. Like you have to work your way up. You get like a job as a PA, and then maybe do lighting, and if you're talented, then you could direct or be a cinematographer or this or that. But everybody wants to do that, like that's like,
Yeah.
so many young people's dream. And I wouldn't discourage anybody from like following their dreams, but I just saw, like that I liked the producer side, and I kind of liked the business side of film. And that really, I think, interests me the most. And then I kind of realized, kind of reading books on entrepreneurship and business and stuff like that, I kind of want to be an entrepreneur, producer type person, then, just like kind of fit in the box and, do a Hollywood style job, because, it's very like when you're on a film set, it's very, it's kind of run like the military,
Yeah.
like you do your job and that's what you do, and you do it well. And, that's it. And that's not really, like I'm not really that I can do those kind of roles, but it's not what, drives me the most.
Yeah, it's very straightforward. You need like when I'm on camera and I'm, let's say, an actor playing myself, which I am most of the time. I just have to follow instructions, and that's it. And I have to, and it's very organized, and all the little things, they have to be in place, and you have to wait before you get the go, etc., etc. So it's very interesting. Yeah, but I think it's cool if you are on the creative side, if you can, think about concepts, or what you would like to show and things like this. How old were you when you considered that?
I was always kind of a creative person. I can't say I was super talented at like art and things like that, but ideas and things, like I always was kind of an outside the box thinker compared to most people. And so for me, I'm not so good at like being originally creative, but more kind of like innovating upon like existing ideas, which is probably most creativity anyways, because there's not really any new ideas out there. It's more just how do you, take ideas from one industry or one genre and bring it to another. That's kind of creativity, it's kind of most creativity. So, for me, I like, in business, I like different, to think of, okay, there's like some feature in our industry, how do we make it better? And I can come up with ideas. I'm not really sure how, but, kind of in my mind, I think, I can think about something and then find a new way to innovate on it.
I see. And what brought you to online business? Like, this is because this is like the big thing, I think.
Yeah, I think I was just searching for, I was just searching for a way to kind of make money and live my dream, which at the time was kind of just traveling the world and doing fun activities and obviously, having a successful business, and learning about different cultures and things like that. So, I don't know, in 2007, the 4-Hour Workweek came out. That was kind of an inspiring book. I can't say it was like so actionable or
No,
practical,
no,
but
no.
it definitely did a good job of selling the dream. And it was definitely a good book because, I mean, there's no book out there that has all the answers. It's really about, reading a lot of different books and finding what resonates with you.
Yeah, it's for me. It was also a very inspiring book, and I think that the key idea of this book for me was that there is this Pareto principle where you have like 20% of the things, roughly 20% could be 10, could be 5 even, that give you 80% plus of the outcome. So there's like this this thought, this concept of effectiveness and efficiency that if you focus on the really the key things that will bring you the most outcome. And I remember when I was in the info product business back in the days, 2008, 2009, I remember very clearly that back then my ex-partner Christoph and I, we were like, okay, Francis seems to be a guy who really knows, you seemed a bit, and I don't want to, like step on your foot or anything, but you seemed a bit, let's say, lazy, but at the same time super effective. Like we were like, hey, we are these industrious German guys, getting up super early and following all processes and following through all the time. And you seemed like always very relaxed and very laid back, but whatever you did was super effective and very much the right thing. Yeah, like it seemed like you didn't hit and miss a lot, but like where we Germans, we were like, we tried a lot of stupid things and it didn't make sense looking back. But you were like, you had this talent where you could just identify the most important things, just do them, and then you're fine. And then you can chill again.
Yeah, I mean, whenever we compare ourselves to others, I think it's always easy to say, "Oh, that guy has it easy," like he's just,
Yeah.
he's way more successful, or he knows what's going on. But I mean, we definitely, I definitely had plenty of trial and error in that business. I mean, there was so much. We had some great successes with products. But we had some great failures too. And so I think, in any business, it's really about identifying like the key leverage points. And I think in digital products and selling books online, obviously like the offer is key. Like if you don't have a good offer, then it's not, it's just like you're polishing a turd, so to speak. And so,
sorry.
So in our market, like, you would like, I would get these different licensing deals that we could do in French, and like, we started off with a really great ebook, on dating that ended up selling pretty well.
Yeah.
We started selling it. I mean, I started selling it on Facebook ads in 2008, which was super early. Like that back then you could get the head of Facebook ads on the phone.
This is crazy.
And so that was cool. Like that was kind of the right place at the right time. As I look back at it, probably in the wrong market, because I would suggest anybody that wants to do international licensing to take a product from somewhere else and bring it to the US instead of vice versa, just because the US market's so much bigger. But yeah, like, I think it's important, to choose the right product, to sell, because, there was lots of different licensing deals that I had. Like when in licensing, you can have, there's so much opportunity that you just get lost in. There's so much opportunity that you just get lost in, opportunity, especially when you're an entrepreneur. We're like, you just like, especially when you're a new entrepreneur, you just see lots and lots of opportunity, and you really have to focus on the best products. And sometimes, like, I would get introduced to like one guy whose product was not that great or not that scalable, but then he would introduce me to another guy that, we would do their product, and then magically we're selling 500 copies a day with a great affiliate. So it was kind of funny to.
Yeah, just for the listeners, those who don't actually know about licensing deals. A licensing deal, especially the deal we did the same deal with German for the German market. You did for the French market back then. It's about, you take a product that is already existing, and instead of creating your own product, you would just take an existing product and bring it to a new market, and basically organize the translation, and then organize traffic, et cetera, and affiliates. This is what we did. And this is what Francis was referring to as a licensing deal. And on a side note, of course, you're not a lazy guy. You're working all the time, just like myself. It's just like you seemed a lot of more relaxed, like in your mindset, as opposed to, for example, myself and Christoph. Like, I remember being like 10 years ago, being very tense and afraid all the time to do something wrong. And we were like, I felt so much pressure in the first years of being an entrepreneur, whereas it didn't come across like you would feel the same. Like you had this, mindset, this relaxed mindset, and that I developed by now. I've developed that by now, and I'm really happy about that, because otherwise I'll probably get sick or so. But in the beginning, I felt a lot of pressure, and I was so afraid of making mistakes. But guess what? Mistakes are inevitable. You're going to make them anyway. In the following episode of Svencast.
Sometimes I think too big. It's so innovative, you would need way more resources to be able to do it. So definitely as an entrepreneur, I sometimes make things more complicated than they need to be.
That's the danger of us being business partners. I'm also thinking very big, but I think there's crazy potential in what we do with Digistore. I think it hasn't even touched its potential. Like, for me, it's not just a reseller platform. It can become like Google or Amazon. If you enjoyed this episode, hit the subscribe button and never miss an episode of Svencast again.